And tonight we have Ken Medanic with us. He's going to do the presentation. What I found in my own trading is that I seem to do very well on a demo account, but I often struggle to keep that consistency on a live account. And I think a lot of this is, it's kind of all in the mind, this is why I got talking to Ken, and I think that using this technology is going to make a huge difference in my own trading when I start. I'm doing some mentoring at the moment, and that's coming on quite nicely as well. So it's all about getting this consistency in the markets, and keeping our emotions in check, and also maintaining an awareness of how we're trading, when we're thinking of entering a position, or when we're afraid to enter, various emotions that we go through. Anyway, I'll pass you across to Ken, and we'll begin tonight's presentation. Thank you, Ken.
Excellent. Thanks, Dr. Ritz. That's very nicely said as well, what you said about your own trading, and emotions. Keeping your emotions in check. Your emotions are actually a reflection or an extension of what's happening in your body. So if you're, a very simple example, you stub your toe in the morning, the biological feeling is what actually creates the emotion. It's not vice versa. So in the same way, when you are under pressure and you forget to breathe, or you're feeling the tension of the market and you actually start to tensen up your abdominal muscles, this starts to generate an emotion because you're starting to feel uncomfortable. Why are you uncomfortable? Because your muscles aren't relaxed. So the more you tensen up your muscles, the more your emotions start to reflect what your biology is telling you, because your emotions are just trying to say to you, listen, you're tensing up right now, please pay attention to what's happening. It's not, emotions aren't no great mystery. It's not like, oh wow, what are your emotions telling you? Fuzzy? It's got nothing to do with that. Emotions are clearly a reflection of what's happening to your biology. It's just a different way that your biology is trying to tell you what state you're currently in. So in saying that, I'm going to show you some examples of winning and losing trades in terms of breathing. Now, breathing is exceptionally important. And now so first let's go back for a step. Resiliency. So what's resiliency? Resiliency is the ability to, for instance, have a losing trade, maintain composure, have the composure and the patience to wait for a new opportunity, and take a winning trade. That's resiliency. Resiliency is being able to take 2 losing trades or 3 losing trades, gain composure, and get it right the 4th time. That's what resiliency is. Another example of resiliency is being afraid to enter into the market, like you said earlier, Derek, and instead of letting your fear get the better of you, to actually calm yourself down, slow your mind down, and have an opportunity to say, what is actually happening to me right now? What am I thinking? And then to see and hear yourself say things to yourself and say, oh, well, okay, I'm actually afraid to enter. It's not that it's not a good opportunity. I'm just afraid to enter the market now. And then once you've realized that, you can actually enter into the market. So how do we train resiliency, the ability to get out of a negative mental state and get us into a positive state, or get us out of negative expectancy and put us into a state of positive expectancy and follow through? The best way to do that, or one of the ways, is through your breathing. Because what actually happens with your breathing is that you're going to activate one of either 2 things. you're going to activate either the pelvic splanchnic nerve or you're going to activate the thoracic nerve. Now, the pelvic splanchnic nerve is the nerve that initiates your parasympathetic nervous system, which means that it activates your ability to relax and have a positive expectancy. Now, if you activate your thoracic nerve, you're actually going to immediately activate your sympathetic nervous system and shoot adrenaline into your blood system. So your thoracic nerve is activated by breathing through your chest. And your pelvic splanchnic nerve is actually activated by breathing through your abdomen. And so we can clearly see whether you have whether you're in a state of arousal which will actually produce a fight-flight response, or if you're in a state of arousal which will actually have a positive expectancy simply by measuring from where are you breathing. So if you're breathing from your abdomen, it means that you have a nice and relaxed torso. It means that your level of muscle tension is very low, so you're very, very relaxed, which means that you have great blood flow. So this is the first picture that I'm showing you, is actually breathing abdominally is the light blue line, and the white line is thoracic breathing, chest. So you can't stop your chest from moving simply because it's being pushed by a diaphragm. So some movement in your chest is necessary, but it's important not to tension your abdomen and then start to breathe thoracically, because then you're actually going into a sympathetic state of arousal. So what some of the statistics in terms of a winning trade and this screenshot that I'm showing you now. So you have abdominal breathing, the amplitude. So the amplitude is from the bottom, which is the contraction of the abdominal muscles, to the very top. So that's the amplitude. Now the amplitude there on average is 10 units, right? So that's in a winning trade. Thoracic in a winning trade is approximately 2. The extent of expansion and contraction is 2 units of expansion. Now, what's interesting is when we start to get to losing trades, the expansion of the abdominal wall starts to actually contract. And this now goes down to, on average, or at a maximum, it's 8. And you have areas like this where it decreases down to about 5. So you're getting about half as much air here abdominally as you are in a winning trade. So it just means that all of your muscles in your abdomen are starting to tense up. Now, when your abdomen starts to tense up, what it's actually doing is it's actually a fear response, and your nerves in your abdominal wall are actually afraid of being hit. That's the physical sensation, is that they're actually afraid of being struck. So they've gone into a full fight-flight response, and the muscles are starting to tense up in preparation of actually copping a hit. Now, if we translate that into the markets, you've obviously gone into a trade which is going against you, or has a high likelihood of going against you. So all your muscles are tensing up, waiting for the blow. Much the same way, in this losing trade, the thoracic breathing as an amplitude was similar, but what you'll notice is that there are now a lot more spikes, which means that at certain times, the trader is actually like gasping for air, because as you can see, it corresponds to these tight areas here where the trader is not breathing through his abdomen much at all. So he's lost about 50% capacity of his abdominal breathing here, and he needs to compensate by breathing through his chest. Again, the same here. He's actually missed an entire breath here, and he's had to compensate by breathing thoracic. And you see it's just perfectly measured here. This one with that, this missed breath here measures with this one here measures with that. So because he's not getting enough oxygen in these moments here, he has to compensate. But by compensating, now he's activating his thoracic nerve, and he's tensing and shooting adrenaline into his system, which is decreasing the oxygen supply in his blood, which is decreasing the oxygen to his brain. So he actually can't even think anymore. So another example, this one, the average here is 5. So you have areas like here and areas like here where there's only 3 units of amplitude in comparison to a winning trade where it was 10. And again, you can notice the amount of gasping for air thoracically that's occurring in the trader there as well. So, and this is just commonplace. We could show as many examples as you possibly want. This one again, this is an average of 5. The amplitude here is 5. And down the bottom here, you actually have, it might look a little bit different, but you actually have an amplitude here of about 3.5. So it's larger than the amplitude of the winning trade, plus you have all of these areas now where the trader is gasping for air. This trade as well, this is a maximum amplitude of 4, and this has gone up to 4 from 2 in a successful trade. And you can see what it starts to do to temperature. The temperature of the trader now starts to go out of control. He can't control his temperature anymore because he's gone into a full fight-flight response. And our final, let me see, do we have one more? We do. And so, again, here as well, we have a drop in amplitude by 2 at its best. So at its best, it's at 8. And here it starts to decrease down to 3 and 4. And so this is in terms of breathing. So how can you train your resiliency? You need to start to understand for yourself what is a relaxed state of breathing. So you have to start to develop this neurological pathway which says, okay, and this is something that you do outside of the markets. So first you train outside of the markets, and you just simply sit there and breathe and say, okay, this type of breathing from my abdomen makes me feel relaxed. And now that I'm relaxed, I actually feel quite pleasant. So that's the first thing. So then you build this muscle memory where the brain turns around and goes, okay, well, I know how to go back to that place, so let me try that again. And then you do it again, and you can access that place faster, and you start to use that place as your reference. So every time you're feeling tense in your stomach, you turn around, your brain turns around and goes, and you're too tense in your stomach, you're not feeling that way, and you go, oh, shit, forgot about that. And then you relax your abdomen again, you start breathing, and you go, oh, wow, yeah, I feel relaxed now. My shoulders have now dropped a little bit, feel much more pleasant. And all of a sudden, your mood will change. Your emotional state will change simply because you've relaxed your muscles and you've allowed blood flow into muscles that you had decreased blood and oxygen flow to. Then once you've got a hang of that, when you get into the markets to trade, prior to planning a trade, just when you're looking at the charts themselves, you just make a check. How am I breathing? Oh wow, I'm feeling a bit tense in the stomach. Why would that be? Well, I'm feeling a little bit nervous now. Okay, well, how about we don't worry about making a trade? How about we start relaxing with the market? Because we all have associations to the market, and you want to build an association that you're relaxed and comfortable with the market. So depending on how, I'll use this word lightly, depending on how traumatized you've been with the market, some people should maybe start simply by looking at the screen with the chart open and not doing anything but measuring their level of tension. Because some people get tense simply by opening up the charts. Why? Because maybe you've blown your account a couple of times. And now you have an initial association of being fearful of the markets. Though you keep on coming back to it because you want to overcome the fear. And so the best thing to do is, instead of trying to trade, you simply just sit with the markets for 5-10 minutes and you just breathe abdominally just to relax yourself. And then by doing that, you start to develop a new association to the market, and the brain just simply goes, okay, when I see that picture with those sorts of little squiggly lines on the thing, it actually makes me relax. And you build this association of every time I see the markets, my body, my muscles automatically relax. And for me personally, whenever I go to trade, I'm automatically into a state of diaphragmatic breathing, because I have a breathing pacer as part of the software that we have, and so I automatically enjoy it. I know that when I trade, I get two things. Number one, I get to trade, so I get an opportunity of making money, and the second thing that I get, which is most probably more important, is that I get to really super relax and get super clear in my mind. And that's the benefit of that is not just in the trading, because after the trading session finishes, whether it's, lasted an hour for me, this morning was even less. I think I was in the market this morning, even with the preparation stage, I think I was in the market for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes this morning. And the point is that it extends further on. So I finished trading and I still feel super relaxed because I've just been doing diaphragmatic breathing for the last half an hour or an hour. So there's a spill-on effect as well. So it's just like going to yoga in the morning, but you don't have to pay someone to go there. You can actually have an opportunity of making money whilst you're centering yourself, and then the rest of the day ends up being a lot better than what it would be if you hadn't. And I think that's what, for me personally, one of the reasons why when I don't trade, for whatever reason, I don't feel as good. It's not that I'm not in a good state of mind that day, but it's not as good. Why? Well, simply because you haven't done, an hour's worth or an hour and a half worth of diaphragmatic breathing in the morning. So it's very beneficial, not just in your trading, but also to create different states of bodily awareness whereby you're actually starting to do things on a consistent basis that's relaxing you and giving you greater clarity of focus. So we do so many things during the course of the day which just either hype ourselves up or create more confusion. We do a lot of that stuff. How many things in the course of your day do you do which center you? And by adding this to your trading, you're getting two things. Again, you're centering yourself, you're giving yourself an opportunity to get more clear, relax your muscles, which allows you to do a lot of different things better. And in addition to that, it's building a brand new association to an opportunity of making money on the side or whatever it's going to be for you. And the markets do. The lure of the markets is that they do provide an unlimited potential to make money. And they truly are that. That's the lure of it. And that's the reality of it. The markets are an unlimited pool of wealth. The only problem that occurs for the markets is there's one way of accessing the markets only. And most people don't want to spend the time to be able to access the market the way that you have to. You can't access the markets the way that you want to, and you can't access the markets in an erratic manner, nor with fear, if you want to be successful. It simply just doesn't work, and that methodology does not work. There's only one way to access the market, and that's to be very, very clear-minded, very, very calm, and simply do your job and exit. That's as simple as it gets. It's the same as hunting. You can't go through the forest making a big ruckus and think you're going to catch anything. It just doesn't work. Most times, if you go hunting, you have one shot, because when you shoot, you're going to scare everything for miles. So you better be very careful when you shoot, and it's the same with trading. You want to enter the markets very, very careful, very, very clear-minded, and wait for your opportunity, because you only get one. Take it and say thank you. Say thank you to yourself for honoring the method by which you can access the markets only. You got to thank yourself for doing a good job. Well done for being calm, patient, disciplined, taking a shot on time. Now, you don't want to go taking a second shot. You simply want to pack up your stuff and go home and come back tomorrow. That's as simple as it gets. It's a very, very simple thing, but in order to make it simple, we have to calm ourselves down and gain greater clarity and clarity of our emotions and our thoughts. And the only way to do that is to start to breathe in a fashion which is actually going to activate certain parts of the body which initiate a calm, relaxed state. And abdominal breathing is the only way. You know, we can look at it in that sort of mystic guru type sense of, you know, sitting there and breathing diaphragmatically with your legs crossed or something like that. And that's nice and fine and good. But the science of it is, for me personally, is a lot more closer to home. I can understand that a lot better than crossing my legs and getting sore knees because I've got to put it in a weird position. You know what I mean? For me, it means, okay, so all I'm doing is I'm activating the pelvic splanchnic nerve, which is actually creating a different biochemistry, which is causing me to relax. So, okay, I can do that anytime. I can be walking to the store, or I can go to pick up my kids from school or whatever. I can do anything, and I can do that. Okay, I'll just walk down the street, breathe abdominally, and within the space of 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, I'll start to relax. So it's very, very attainable for all of us. So you get into a bad trade, you don't feel comfortable, or you're feeling super nervous inside the trade. Don't exit straight away if you have a stop loss. If you have a stop loss and a profit target, don't exit straight away. Use the opportunity to actually start to calm yourself down. Because what you're doing is you're creating a brand new neurological pathway. You're saying, okay, even when I feel absolutely erratic and very fearful and I want to get out because all of these thoughts and feelings are going rampant in my brain, I'm going to take the opportunity of taking control. I'm going to take control of my state and take control of my own thoughts and of my own body by trying to breathe and just calm everything down. And you most probably won't work the first time around. But if you keep on doing it, you'll see that, oh wow, I felt better for about 15 seconds and then I lost control and I exited prematurely. But you'll do it again and again, and that period starts to increase and increase, and all of a sudden you can be in a losing trade and be calming yourself down, because you're going to need that skill at another point in time. You're going to need that skill when you have live money in the market and it really matters. You know, if you're trading on a demo account, it doesn't really matter. You want to use demo account trading for practice, for practicing the skills that are necessary to master. You need to master these skills before you go to a live account. Because when it is live, it's just going to hurt doubly to lose real money. So if you have a day job, you go to work, you get paid, you know, whatever, you know, a couple $100 for the day, and then that evening, within the space of, you know, 5-10 minutes, you've lost 8 hours worth of work. So you want to make sure that you master the ability to stay clear even in the midst of turmoil, and the only turmoil is the turmoil that we're creating in our mind. So you want to have the resiliency to say, okay, I'm starting to lose control here. I've got to bring back my control, and in a clear state, what is the best action that I need to do right now? Is this really going against me, or am I just panicking? And then in a clear state, you can make a decision and have confidence that that decision is the right one, because you don't want to exit the trade and then all of a sudden it goes in your favor. So only by calming yourself down can you see clearly to know what is the correct action to make, and that you get all from breathing.
That was really good, Ken. Really good advice there.
Yes, and so that would be my little presentation on training resiliency through coherent breathing. If there's any questions or any comments, I'd be happy to